What's up, Barnhill family, and welcome back to your home for all things combat sports.
Yo.
So, Nick, Khamzat Chimaev has come out and said, well, since you're letting guys that have 6 MMA wins fight for titles, how about throwing me in there with Alex Pereira? And I got to admit, I am really intrigued by that potential matchup. We've long talked about Khamzat competing at both 170 and 185, but now that things are kind of settling at middleweight, it seems like there might be a clear path for Boers there.
Yeah, I really like this. And one thing I've grown to love is the Twitter that takes place on the night of big fights. And Conor McGregor has always taken the lead as far as that goes. You know, if there's anybody from 45 division all the way up to about, let's just say heavyweight.
Depends on how much proper 12 is being consumed. If it's 3 or 4 glasses, then Francis is getting called out.
Exactly. Everybody. Maybe even a female might get called out. But Conor McGregor always takes the lead, and he's usually got something fun to say. But as of late, he's got a co-pilot in that plane, and I would say Khamzat Chimaev is pointing his cannon at absolutely everybody, and this was probably the most accurate one he could have gone after. Alex Pereira, who just beat Izzy Adesanya, a matchup that everybody has kind of thought for a while that Khamzat would have a good time with, and I feel like this is a perfect place and a perfect leg for him to stand on. You know, he says, you guys signed this guy out of nowhere. He only fought 3 times before he got his title shot, and y'all are saying that I don't deserve my title shot. I need to kind of walk up a little bit slowly, even though I'm doing more work than he's doing in more divisions against more competitive fighters. So I feel like Khamzat is hitting a home run going after Alex Pereira. That might be the perfect first title fight that Alex Pereira can try to defend his belt at.
Definitely. And the MMA purist in me says that Robert Whittaker certainly deserves a title shot. Adesanya, who has dominated middleweight for a long time, definitely deserves another title shot. Even though he's 0-3 against Pereira, we do have to discount those first 2 losses as they were in a different sport. However, the inner casual in me is dying to see Khamzat Chimaev get an immediate title shot at 185. And listen, I know Alex Pereira is several levels above Kevin Holland when it comes to striking as far as his accolades go. He's got knockout wins over Adesanya. He is an absolute animal when it comes to the stand-up game. But when you look at body types and then you look at grappling ability, Kevin Holland is actually a far better grappler than Alex Pereira is. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and we saw what happened to him. Chimaev was able to come in, grab the legs, and then it was all over but the fat lady singing after that happened. So it's hard to imagine that it might not be a similar situation if he gets in there with Pereira. Now, I understand that Pereira's got those incredible knees up the middle. He's got some ridiculous uppercuts. He's very sneaky. He can set traps for you. So if you shoot on the legs and it's a little too telegraphed, you could be waking up looking at the ceiling of whatever venue the fight took place in. But honestly, I think if the odds came out for this fight, Chimaev would probably be the favorite, and I think for good reason.
Yeah, and I actually love the fact that Khamzat Chimaev is considered a white belt in jiu-jitsu, and Alex Pereira just received his brown belt. Now, I don't really know how he was able to earn that when he went back to his gym in Brazil, but, you know, everybody's got their own sort of credentials and how they want to give out their belts, and I'm not one to judge here nor there. I don't really care what the school that he goes to wants to do. But I will say there's a big gap in the skills on the ground between Khamzat and Pereira. And if Izzy's able to take you down and hold you down for at least a minute or a minute and a half at times in a fight, Khamzat Chimaev is going to be able to do whatever he wants to you. And I would say that Alex Pereira could come into this fight and pose some threats and pose some trouble for Khamzat on the feet. But Khamzat's no slouch when it comes to striking. And Pereira seems to be the kind of guy that's a live by the sword, die by the sword counter striker. He doesn't really come forward and press the action. He's usually waiting for you to do something, and that can be a lot of trouble when you're going against somebody who's looking for those takedowns. You know, my biggest problem with Alex Pereira when he was fighting Izzy is that he just wasn't firing off as much as I thought he probably should have. I thought he'd have a better chance at winning the fight early on if he would have just thrown some more punches. He was having Izzy backed up into the cage, and then he just wasn't doing anything with it. And I felt like if he was able to throw off some more shots, he probably would have been able to catch Izzy more often, which could have ended the night earlier for him. You know, I don't really have any critiques for him. He did get the belt against one of the most dominant champions the UFC's had in a meaningful period of time. But Khamzat Chimaev gets that close on you, you're going to the ground, and then you're going for a ride. And if you don't know how to even get the hooks out that Izzy Adesanya has on you, I don't think you're going to get the hooks out that Khamzat Chimaev has. Like you said, Kevin Holland is a great grappler. He understands what you have to do when somebody tries to get a hold of you. You got to act like the most squirmy fish a fisherman's ever caught. You know, if you want to hold a fish, you better hope they're dead, because if they're not, they're going to be squirming and jumping all over the place. And that's what Kevin Holland did. He was pretty good at that, but Khamzat, in about a matter of a minute and a half, was able to slow him down, control him, and then get the submission. So Pereira might be in for a rough night at the office if his first title defense is against Borz.
Definitely. And he's got that great Deontay Wilder equalizer. He's got that one-punch KO power. He throws that hook. It doesn't even have to be the most technical or powerful hook that he throws. Just if it touches you in the right place and he puts about 70% behind it, people seem to just go to sleep. It's really amazing. There's very few people that have that kind of power. So I do think that Khamzat would be more in danger while the fight was on the feet against Alex Pereira than he was against Kevin Holland. Make no mistake about that, even though Holland does have some great knockouts of his own. But I just think that he would be able to get in on the legs, and I think it would pretty much be curtains at that point. But I would love to watch the fight and potentially be proven wrong.
Yeah, and it would be a lot of fun to see the size difference, because Khamzat's been able to make 175, and nothing in my mind tells me that Alex Pereira would ever be able to make 170 pounds unless he was on his deathbed. God forbid that ever happens. But there would be a huge size difference, but it would almost be sort of a homage back to the old UFC days where you see a guy who's way superior in grappling but smaller go in there and take out a guy who seems to be like the bigger, more tougher, scarier looking guy in the UFC. Go ahead and get submitted. And I will mention that now that I've brought it up, this might be a fight between the two scariest looking guys in the UFC if they ever make it.
No doubt about that. Thanks for watching this video, guys. We're your hub for all things combat sports. If that's your jam, we appreciate a subscribe and a like on the video, and drop us a comment down below. We'll see you next time.
Peace.